Hey everyone, my name is Weh Yeoh. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of Umbo. I'm also one of the founders of OIC Australia, Happy Kids Clinic, and a couple of other things. Um, I'm not a very active member on this particular group, but I have known Joe for a number of years. In fact, I just did a bit of research looking through my emails because, let's face it, that's what emails are for, to remind us of things that we've long forgotten about. And it is almost 5 years to the day that Joe and I were connected online. What happened was, at the time I was living and working in Cambodia, I just started this organization called OIC Cambodia. And the purpose of this organization was to start, and is to start, the profession of speech therapy in that country where there are no speech therapists. We were doing a fundraising campaign. Joe found it somehow, reached out to me, connected, and really wanted to support it. And she did it wholeheartedly, of course, bringing her whole self and her whole personality to it without the expectation of anything in return. And I think it was that first interaction with Joe that really set up a wonderful 5 years of knowing this really great person, and everything that's happened since as a result of knowing Joe has been a big part of that first interaction. It really set the tone really well. That campaign was run. It's one of the most successful fundraising campaigns that I've ever done. The story for me is that I continued to work in Cambodia till 2017, was able to hand off the leadership of that organization to a local Cambodian team. I'm not a big believer in foreigners like myself telling people in countries like Cambodia what to do. And I think our role really is to step away from that and to let them take over. I then moved back to Australia, and after 6 months of trying to find something meaningful, started Umbo, which is a social enterprise. And what Umbo does is we use technology to connect people, mostly in rural Australia, with clinicians, particularly speech and occupational therapy, online. And this means that we cut wait times down from up to 18 months down to 1 or 2 weeks. It's a very different model to what I was working on in Cambodia, and a whole bunch of different challenges. But how this relates to Joe, Joe's basically been my coach since about 2015. We met not long after on one of my trips from Cambodia back to Sydney. We hit it off, and she's been coaching me ever since. And I think what I wanted to talk about today is not just to beat my own chest about different successes, although the topic that I did pick, mostly because everyone else had picked all the other topics I wanted to talk about, the topic I did pick is my success story, and why it's a success story to me is to really relate that to how Joe has helped me along this very long journey. So if we go back to 2015 to now 2020, we're a bit older, we're a bit wiser. I haven't aged, of course, but that's because I'm Asian, and as they say, Asians don't raisin. But certainly a lot of things have changed. In 2015, I was finding my way as a leader in an organization. I didn't know specifically how to lead, how to work with people inside and outside the organization, and what kind of people I needed to have in my vicinity. And I think Joe was probably one of the first people outside my inner circle that I brought in specifically to help me in this journey and advise me and coach me and mentor me through this process. OIC Cambodia, this organization in Cambodia, is doing really wonderful things and has created really amazing change for people in Cambodia, and continues to do so. And starting an organization, handing off the leadership, having it run by people that are not the original founders, that's very difficult. All of this happened within 4 years under a lot of the coaching that Joe gave me. And then with Umbo, this social enterprise now, which is doing online therapy, it's been going for about 2 years. As you can imagine, due to COVID-19 and just prior to COVID-19, actually, we started to hit this period of extreme growth. In terms of success stories, this is not a measure of success, but it does indicate, I think, the growth of the organization. On March the 1st, we had 5 staff members. We are now May 20th, and we have 21. So we've added 16 staff members in the last 10 weeks. That's more than 1 staff member per week. And I think the success out of all of this is that we're not insane yet. We still have a handle on how this business runs. We still kind of know what everyone's doing. We still have a plan. And most importantly, we've developed a culture within the organization that I think is going to withstand this extreme growth. And a lot of this smarts, I guess, of knowing how to do this and how to navigate it and, still be able to sleep 8 hours a night has really come from osmosis of being around Joe and Joe's network. Through Joe, I've been able to meet lots of wonderful people who have done some pretty incredible things. She's really opened up her network for me to tap into some amazing people. Just to name two names that I can think off the top of my head, Kathy Love and Janine Garner, real powerhouses in their area of expertise. And I've learned a lot from these people too. And I think one of the key things I take away from Joe is that value of not shutting your door and keeping your door open to opportunities and really being outwardly focused as an organization and having that energy to go out and not to promote and not to beat your chest, but to say, I've got something to offer other people in this community and I feel like you've got something to offer me too. A really tangible example of that and why I think Umbo is working really well and growing really quickly recently is right when COVID-19 started to get really serious, we held an online summit where we organized it in about 5 days. And the point of the summit was to help private practices transition from being face-to-face clinicians to being online. Joe spoke at this summit. And in this process, we had over 500 attendees in this, whirlwind of putting this summit together, 12-hour days, 5 days of preparation to get this up and running, 500 people attended. And we're still getting a lot of the benefits of that summit now. I mean, we're getting the benefits, the attendees are getting the benefits, but the benefit of our positioning and the fact that we've been outwardly focused and not just locking ourselves up in our own clinics and labs and working away and beavering away at our own stuff, that's been really important too. So I think the value of getting out into the community, talking about what you do and trying to find like-minded people has been one of the key lessons I've learned from and through Joe. And I think also embracing your own sense of weirdness. Joe is weird, I'm weird, we're all weird. And it's when you embrace your weirdness and you take it on that people actually flock to you and you don't try and hide it. You just be who you are. And I think that's another really key lesson that I've learned from Joe. She knows that, who she is. I really appreciate that about Joe. I like the fact that she's not someone who self-censors. I like the fact that when she writes emails, it's littered with mistakes and that doesn't really matter to her. This sort of authenticity is what attracts a lot of people to want to work with Joe. And I think carrying that out into the way that I've communicated with our external stakeholders has been also really beneficial in the long run. So yeah, that's going to wrap up my video. Thanks so much for the opportunity to talk about how Joe and I have worked together in the last 5 years. It's been really incredible. I know everyone in this community is getting that same benefit. Wishing you, Joe, a speedy recovery. We'll be in touch real soon. Take care.